Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 for Miss Carranza and Mr. Grice's Algebra 2 class. Today we're talking about section 1.5, part 2, adding and subtracting real numbers. So the ones that we're working on today are going to be a little bit more difficult than the ones we did yesterday. So if you're still having a little bit of problems, please look at the video from yesterday or come and see Miss Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. So directions say to simplify each expression and to leave fractions in lowest terms. So let's take a look at number 1. It says parentheses 10 minus 18 plus parentheses negative 4 plus 6. Now, before we get started with these, we need to follow our order of operations, and those say to do parentheses first. And we have two sets of parentheses. Now, anytime we see subtraction, we want to add the opposite. 10 plus negative 18 gives us negative 8. Plus negative 4 plus 6 gives us 2. Now, from here on out, we really don't need those parentheses. So negative 8 plus 2, those are different. The negatives are bigger, so our final answer is going to be negative 6. All right, let's look at B. We have negative 13.2 minus parentheses negative 21.7 plus 5.4. So remember the order of operations, we have to do the parentheses first. Now some of you guys might think, oh, we have to distribute that. Well, we could, but we only distribute with variables. So let's write that down real quick as a little reminder. We only distribute when we have variables. So we are going to just do the inside right now, and we're going to do just a little work on the side because I don't know about you, but I cannot do that in my head. So we have 21.7 and 5.4. Now they are different signs. Negatives win. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract these guys. I have to borrow. You get 16.3, and this is a negative 16.3. So when we rewrite this, we have negative 13.2 minus negative 16.3. And whenever we see subtraction, we're going to add the opposite. So now we have 16.3 and negative 13.2. So are they same signs or different signs? They are different. What wins, positives or negatives? Positives. So we're going to do some more work off the side. 16 is the bigger number. Subtract 13.2. You get 3.1, and it's a positive 3.1. All right. So far, order of operations hasn't been too difficult, just a little bit of side work. But for this one, we do have to worry about the order of operations. Now, inside of the parentheses, we have an exponent. So we have to do that first. The rest of this is going to stay the same. Now I see subtraction, so we're going to add the opposite. And inside of that, 5 plus negative 8 gives us negative 3. So we're done with parentheses. We did the exponents. Now the next thing that I see is multiplication. And that's negative 4 times negative 3. We're going to just rewrite it right up here. Negative 4 times negative 3 gives us a positive 12. And from there, All you got to do is add, and you get 25. Okay? Just remember that you need to multiply before we can subtract over there. Okay? In this line right over here. Alrighty, let's look at letter D. It says negative 4 over 9 plus 1/6 minus 2/3. Now, before we do any of this, we are going to find the LCD of 9, 6, and 3. Okay? So 9, 18, 27, 6, 12, 18, 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Do we see one that we can use yet? Hopefully. All right. Now we need to change each one of those fractions. So we have negative 4 over 9. We have 1 over 6. And 2 over 3. Now we multiply 9 by 2, 6 by 3, and the 3 by the 6. And the reason why I'm getting those numbers is just by counting where the 18 is. That tells us what our number is going to be. So we get negative 8, we get 3, and then we get negative 12. So our new problem is negative 8 over 18 plus 3 over 18 minus 12 over 18. And the opposite, the negatives win, because we have more negatives than we do positives, which gives us negative 8 over 18 plus negative 9 over 18. Now the key thing right here, do not reduce until the end. Okay, because if we reduce now, then we're going to have to find another LCD and all of that stuff, and we don't want to do that. So let's take a look. We're adding, and we have like signs, so that means we can just add those numbers up. 8 plus 9 gives us 17, and that is a negative 17, and we cannot reduce that. All right, let's look at E. E is saying the opposite of the absolute value of 7 minus 25 minus the absolute value of 4 minus 8. Now, absolute value is a grouping symbol. And pretty much that is the same thing as parentheses. So we have to do what's inside of those first. Add the opposite. Add the opposite. We have the absolute value of negative 18. And the absolute value of 4 plus negative 8, which gives us negative 4. So now all we got to do are those absolute values, and that's 18. And the reason it stays negative is because that negative sign's coming down. Okay, same thing. Negative sign, it goes down. So now all we have to do is add the opposite. They are the same sign, which means we keep the sign and add the numbers. All right, let's look at F. We've got two guys inside the absolute value, so we're going to do those first. We get the absolute value of negative 35 plus the 2 stays there. 9 minus 3 is 6. The absolute value of negative 35 is a positive 35 plus that's 2 stays there, and that turns to 6. So, and this is multiplication. That's what that 2 out there means. So, do we add first or do we multiply first? Smack yourself on the head right now if you're saying to add. Multiply, and then we've got our answer. All right, let's look at a couple more. Now, this is saying to translate and simplify each expression. So let's go ahead and get started. We have negative 8 decreased by 17. Decreased is a word for subtraction. So that is saying negative 8 minus 17. So now that we know what it means, add the opposite. They are the same signs. We add the numbers, keep the signs. Next one is saying the sum. Sum is telling me that we need to add. So we're going to add 13 and negative 4. Those are different signs. Positives are bigger. Subtract 13 and 4, which gives us 9, and it stays positive. Now, 10 less than 41. It does tell us to subtract. However, whenever we see the words less than, we need to switch the order. Okay? So this is 41 minus 10. Now, this one we don't really have to change anything. You can add the opposite, but since positives are bigger, it makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay, D, 9 more than negative 2. Okay, more than tells us that we are going to add. Just like our example with subtraction in C, whenever we see the word than, it's telling us to switch the order. So we got negative 2 and 9. What's bigger, positives or negatives? Positives are by 7. All right, we've got a couple more that are just a little bit more work. We have 8 less than the sum of negative 11 and negative 3. So we have 2 different sets of operations that we're doing. I see less than right away, so this is telling me we have to switch. So the 8 has to go all the way and back. And now it's saying the sum. Sum is telling us to add. We're going to add negative 11 and negative 3. And we actually have to put that in the parentheses. Okay? Because we have to make sure that we do that first. I'm just going to rewrite it so we have some room. Negative 11 plus negative 3 gives us negative 14. Right here I see click, click. Same signs. Keep the sign. Add the numbers. Negative 22. All right, and F says 2 more than the difference of negative 5 and 8. I see more than and difference. We're going to have to add, but we also have to switch. So the 2 goes all the way to the back. We're going to take the difference. We're going to do that first of negative 5 and 6. Do your click, click, same signs. And negative 11 plus 2 gives us negative 9. Okay, that's it for chapter 1.5 notes, section 2 or part 2. If you have any questions and need assistance, come see Miss Carranza and myself. We would love to help you out. Have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.